Hi, you all. Welcome back to another episode of WorkYogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. Every week, I bring you conversations with people who are masters of their craft or are on a journey to be masters. Hopefully, through their journeys, we can learn a few things in terms of new tips and strategies that can help us take our game to the next level. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to it so you get the latest updates. Like this video and do please leave your comments and let us know if you took something away. In the house today is someone with an incredible story of the American dream. When I first heard of the term American dream, didn't completely understand it. But having spoken to a few of my guests, it's dawned on me that it's this idea that anyone with the ambition and the desirable work ethic can make it in the American economy. Today's guest is a testimonial to that fact. From her roots in Poland to arriving in the American shores without the knowledge of spoken English, to getting her education and then thriving in the American corporate, followed by pivot into her passion for education and coaching, it's been a dream come true. We explore her journey. How did she do it? What gave her the courage to plunge into her passion and launch her own business? Let's welcome Magdalena Ponurska. Hey Magdalena, welcome to WorkYogi Diaries.
Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, very excited too. When I read about you, found it very fascinating. You're doing some very cool stuff, especially after this is your second innings in your career. You've had a first innings in General Motors, and then now you're doing some very cool stuff in the area of education and transformational coaching. So we have a lot to talk about and learn from you. But before that, I'll let you maybe do a brief personal introduction, and then we'll jump right in.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Magdalena Ponurska. I am originally from Poland. I've been here now but half of my life almost. I have an 11-year-old son. His name is James, and a partner, his name is Tom, who is very passionate about audio and music. And currently I work as a director of operations for Montessori School Rochester in Rochester, Michigan. I am the co-founder of the Global Montessori Network and also the founder of Zone of Genius.
Nice. Yeah. And we're going to speak about learn about all of that as we move forward. But before we get into the present, let's spend a little time about do a bit of a flashback and get a sense of your early days in your from a work perspective. Give us a sense.
Yes. So like I mentioned, I'm originally from Poland. I grew up in Poland during the communist years. And one of my biggest dreams was to study psychology. So after graduating from high school, I narrowed it down to 5 universities from around the globe and got accepted at the University of Michigan in the US. And my journey started with knowing no English, probably just 2 words. I packed my bags at 21 and left, arrived here with hello and thank you, and started learning English as a second language. So I did English as ESL for 6 or 8 months. I worked as an au pair. And then I decided, yes, I'm ready to go and pursue my degree. So I went to the university, and my first Psych 101 class, I was so excited and happy to be there. And except that I did not have full comprehension of English. So on my first test, I got 0 or F. And I got very lucky because my professor took interest in me, pulled me to the side, and he was like, how and why is there a zero? And I said, well, only because I've been here for 8 months. So I had a privilege of working with a TA, started studying every day. So I spent 10 hours every day in the library. And to this day, I still have my Psych 101 book that has Polish translations above each sentence. So I'm saving it for my son. And then and then the rest is history. I've learned pretty quickly English, started dreaming in English because someone told me that the moment you start dreaming in English, you know it. So that was one of my biggest goals to accomplish. And I graduated from U of M and with a degree in psychology. And then I wanted to work as a social worker. So I moved to Chicago to pursue a master's degree in social work. And halfway through the program, I found out that social work and working with abused children was not for me. It literally broke my soul. And so I quit and went into marketing and numbers and statistics. So the first half of my career was focused on statistics and marketing. And that's how I ended up working at GM. So I started working at GM in the division that at that time was OnStar, and it was a separate division of General Motors. And I did run their mailing campaigns. I don't know if anyone still can remember those. But before text and email, we actually had like a literal mailing campaigns and offers. So that's how my career with GM started. And then I was incredibly lucky and blessed because I got to change my profession pretty much over 3 years. So I thrive on learning new things. So with GM, because it's such a big company, after OnStar, I got an opportunity to work in purchasing. After purchasing, I got into information technology. And after that, I got into human resources. So I'm just so grateful that I was able to try on different roles and different responsibilities. And in my latest human resources adventure, I was very, very lucky to get to work on a global project. We were implementing a new system for General Motors, and I got a chance to travel. I got a chance to translate and help people with translating the requirements for different languages, and implement the system globally. Then and in the process of doing it, I've learned tons. Not only about technology, but also about myself. And also I've learned a lot about other people. And going through that whole process, I was doing or learning how to become a coach. Coaching was something that I was always very passionate about. So I picked the leadership and executive path of coaching. And as I was working in GM, I got opportunities in different shapes or forms to work and coach other people and team members. So that was really an incredible experience that really gave me the assurance that coaching is something that I can do. Not only that, but it's something that really makes a huge difference. So with that, when I got an opportunity to take a buyout, I took the big leap of faith and took the buyout and decided to start my own company. And it was supposed to be my full-time job. However, as you know, with kids, my path got completely derailed when my son said, "How about working at my school?" So he was going to Montessori School Rochester, and during the summer, after I took a buyout, I was helping out in the school, volunteering. Part of my volunteering was coaching the head of school. And halfway through, my son says, "Why? How about working here with me at the school?"
I wanted to just 1 second before you.
Go ahead.
I think absolutely we need to talk about that, and we want to get into your whole trajectory into Montessori and education. But before we do that, I just want to wrap up your initial day. So one thing I heard in your initial part of your journey is you seem to have spent time in of course, education being psychology, but you also spend time in purchasing, marketing, and you talked about all those mailers coming in. I still get mailers, by the way. So we know who's behind that mischief. So that's amazing. So that gives a sense of how you've been moving around, and also the fact that you moved into human resource management in the end, and probably got exposure to work. And you also mentioned that, which is a goal that I want to call out, is in learning a new language. You mentioned, especially English in your case, someone said start dreaming in English. I guess what it also means is you start thinking in English, correct?
Yeah.
Is that what you do today? Okay.
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, I do. And thank you for picking up on that. So I think in English. However, this fascinates me to this day because I do all my math in Polish.
Oh.
And so when I share that with people, they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes, I just do my math in Polish, and everything else happens in English."
and is Polish and English grammatically and dramatically different in language structures? Okay.
Yes, very, very different. There's absolutely no similarities. Yeah, so there was a big learning experience for me, and it like I said, it took a while, but it was the complete absorption in the language.
Yeah, and that's a great tip, because if for folks who are trying to learn a new language, that's a great way to probably learn a language when you start thinking. Because a lot of times you're thinking in one language and then translating to another language, so you're kind of doing a Google Translate in your head.
That's true.
Which always doesn't work.
Yeah.
Great, terrific. So let's get back, which is, we were pivoting into how, and that was probably the next thing that we want to talk about is your interest in Montessori, and you were just beginning to share that. So let's get back into that. And I would love to also hear about your thoughts on Montessori education itself. Like, why did you choose Montessori as a system for your son?
Yeah.
What about it? Yeah.
So as a parent, what I love about Montessori is the whole child approach. So Maria Montessori had this incredible forethought of addressing and seeing and relating to and with children from the perspective of the entire person. So it's the mind, it's the heart, and it's the hands. Mm-hmm. And what's beautiful about Montessori is that it's really child-centered. And each child is so precious, and each child is so different. And Montessori education truly addresses that. Mm-hmm. So because we have smaller classes, the guides, the teachers are able to spend more time with each child and cater to the needs and the interests and the passion for each child. It also builds an amazing leadership. And, for me as a coach, as a leadership coach, that's what makes my heart sing, is when I see my 11-year-old stepping into his leadership role and being the leader that the world needs. The classrooms are mixed ages, so he is with younger and older children. So the younger children look up to him, and he's looking up to the older children.
Yeah.
And every day he has the opportunity to be a leader. And one of my absolutely favorite pictures that just melts my heart is it's the back of him walking towards it was on a field trip. They are walking towards some place, and he's very tall, and there's like 3 other younger children next to him, and he's holding a hand of this young girl, and the rest is just like around him. And that, like, to me as a parent, it just melts my heart, because it really shows, him being loving, being caring, taking care of the younger children, especially as a parent of the only child. To me, that was so important, that through school and through what he's exposed to every day, he develops this amazing ability to deeply care about other children, and he knows how to take care of them. And it doesn't matter, if they are 2 or if they are 4, if they are 6, he can still relate and he can still take care of them. And to me, that was so important. So that was one of the many things that attracted me to Montessori as education, that knowing that he will get the opportunities to play, to eat lunches, to go on a trips with younger children, and he will always have the village. He will always have the tribe around him and the exposure to other children.
Got it. Very, very, very clear. So coming back to the point where your son basically suggested that, hey, why don't you just join the school? I guess that was the pivot in which you went into Montessori. So, and you took on a role at the Montessori school as well. And so let's hear about that. And also, how did that evolve into this platform that you're kind of also working on? Give us a little sense of what is this platform about? What's the problem it's trying to solve? Yeah, let's hear about that.
So as I started working in the school and working through one of my biggest goals while joining the school was opening a middle school. So before I joined the school was only going through grade 6. And I was committed that we go through grade 8. So opening middle school was a big undertake. And then, so I started working on that. And then COVID happened. And as you know, as COVID happened, again, it was, in a way, it was a blessing in disguise that I had all these skills and all this knowledge in my background, because literally within a week, I was able to develop a platform that allowed us to switch from in person to doing everything virtually. And we were able to do it in 1 week. So the platform was up. My faculty was trained. My faculty is absolutely phenomenal. We have 30 absolutely amazing teachers. And they were able to absorb and get ready in a week. So after 1 week, we went live. And we were able to meet and maintain and be with our students on daily basis. So every day there was not, we didn't do any of the every other day, every 3 days in a row. It was every day at the minimum for 2, sometimes 4 hours. We were interacting with the students and we're interacting with the families. So it was a full support, not only of the students, but it was also the full support of the families to make sure that we maintain that connection. Because that was one of the biggest things that early on we found that what was missing were people were so isolated for the first time ever, that the connection was missing. So we had a Zoom coffee hours, and we have Zoom painting, and group support for parents. Whatever you can. We were very creative in terms of finding ways to bring everyone together. So as this was happening, we were talking to other schools, and from those conversations, it was like this big aha moment. It was like, oh, other Montessori schools are struggling with exactly the same thing. Well, let's create a network and share our best practices and share what we're doing, because it's working so well. So that's how a Global Montessori Network was born. And with Joanne Shango, who is the head of the school, we started the Global Montessori Network. And every day we shared best practices, and we shared materials and resources. We were sharing, how do I set up Zoom? What's the best way to interact with children? How many hours a day should I do it? What are some of the activities that children can do at home? How do I talk to parents over Zoom? How do I support them? There were so many things coming up every day that we were able to answer those questions and share materials, share what we were doing. And with all this sharing, like literally within 2 months, we had, I think, 3,000 schools were part of our network.
So
it was truly amazing experience. Yeah.
So this platform that you're talking about, right? Well, you said you kind of created this pretty much in a month. So what is this? When you say this platform, it seems like, is it an online platform you created?
Yes. So it started with a Facebook group. So we started with the step one was Facebook group, and the Facebook group like literally grew to 3,000. I think we had 3,000 members by month 3, and then we started taking all the knowledge from Facebook and then created a website. And then behind the website, there is a whole slew of videos, and the videos are instructional. I think we have 7 languages now, which I'm so proud of us. So we support schools, parents, administrators in 7 languages, which it's truly remarkable. So you can go on there and you can look and for answers to how do I do a presentation to a child on on math problems, or how do I do instructions in language, or anything that you can think of. You can go and watch a video on that, and there's also supporting documents. We have tons of PDFs, and there's also open forum. Yes, go ahead.
So the question I have is, did you create all these videos from scratch? I mean, all the content from scratch?
Yeah, so content. Yeah, so content is coming. So we started with our own videos initially, but then the content started coming in from different schools, different countries, different regions, and now it's a collection of and it's a collaboration of different Montessori schools, different Montessori teachers. We call them guides. That are contributing and that are sharing. So and it's so beautiful to see the collaboration, the support, and the responsiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you provided the leadership for all of that.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So how does it feel?
It was a lot of fun. It was very rewarding and also fun, because it was like I said, it was just so beautiful for me personally to see the growth and how fast it grew, because there was such a need, and it grew from everyone wanting to contribute and everyone wanting to support each other and be part of this tribe, this village. And it was, for the first time ever, I feel like it was truly at the global level. And to me, that was so exciting. And it still is so exciting.
So one of the challenges that I have heard, in the teaching community has been this entire transformation to a digital online environment put teachers at a tremendous amount of stress, because teachers are not necessarily the most adapted using technology or tools to either use content or create content. Teachers are traditionally classroom trained. Did you have to deal with that a lot?
We did, and it's so interesting because when you look at some of the articles or thoughts about Montessori or Waldorf or any other different type of schools like that, there's this concept of we don't do technology. We just do the hands-on training. And it was, to me, it was such a pivoting time. And again, it was so exciting to watch because there was there was initial resistance to, like we don't do Zoom and it's not going to work. And, all the objections came to the surface. But then there was the only way. There was nothing else left. So with training, I feel like with proper training and explanation of why and how, we were able to overcome very quickly those obstacles and show to our faculty and our guides not only the benefits but also the ease. So it took the transition time took a week where I would literally be there and support and do the IT hands-on support. Like, okay, here's you press this button. This is how you share your screen, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, it was taking the pressure away from the teachers to have to focus on, oh my God, I have to deal with this technology and I have to teach and I have to prepare and, right? Yeah. So the transition was just, there was this beautiful flow of let me take away the technology, just focus on the teaching, and then slowly they were becoming more and more comfortable with Zoom and with sharing screen and with doing activities, breakout rooms and and anything else that we were able to evolve over time. So it was just, again, to me, it was really beautiful to watch the how that experience was flowing from the initial resistance to creating. We were able to create magic over the screen.
Yeah. So in moments like this, especially when you're trying to deploy a new idea or a new approach, what do you use as a in your toolkit to persuade some of the more resistant? There are some folks who jump in and say, "Hey, I'm ready. I want to the early adopter. It sounds cool." But there's probably a percentage of people saying, "No, this is too difficult." How do you persuade them? How do you make them feel comfortable? What do you do?
I love that. I love this question. So this is where the coaching kicks in, right? Yeah. And I'm a strong believer and strong proponent of starting with why. So by connecting to the why. So with my faculty, it was, why are you here? Why are you teaching? Why did you become a teacher? what's in it for you, and how does it feed your soul, how does it support your passion. And and I love this moment when people are able to connect with their why, with their passion. You can see this big light bulb going on,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh yes, now, oh yeah, I remember, I'm here because I wanted to make a difference. I deeply care about the children. I want to support them. I'm here because someone else made this difference for me 20 years ago, and it's my way of paying it back. But it always happens. Like there's this magical few seconds where people are able to connect with their whys, and then when they do, the resistance like really comes down, and that's when they are able to hear, okay, here are the steps that you have to
Yeah.
take to get from point A to Z.
Yeah. Requires a lot of patience, right?
Yes. Yes.
Patience and compassion.
Compassion and persistence.
Yes. And what about the kids? I think the kids also went through a lot of difficulty during this phase to just transition to this new model of, delivery, right?
Yes. So it was very interesting for me to watch even my son. So initially there was a lot of excitement, right? Because I can be home, I don't have to go to school, and I can be online. So initially it was like, oh, okay, this is so much fun, let's do it. After a while, when it kicked in, I was like, oh, you mean I cannot see my friends like in person? That sucks. And then then there was so after that sucks period we got to, and again, to me as a parent, it was so fascinating to watch, was we got into this phase where he was looking and counting down of, okay, we have 3 weeks until we can go back to in person, and then the date would change. And then it was like the depression would set in. And it's like, oh, this is horrible. Like I've been doing this now for 3 months and I was so looking to going back. And now you are telling me I can't. And so it was with all the support and with all the connection that we were able to still maintain with other families and other kids, he was still going through this emotional ups and downs depending on how far the date moved into, like, okay, when can I go back to normal, and when can I see my friends, and when I can be in person, and where can we run and do things, right? So very, very interesting, and yes, very difficult for children. It's
I have a
it's
question there
yeah.
for you. So, with the Montessori system, unlike other, systems of schooling, you have this one classroom with different kids of different ages working together. So, in this environment, were you able to tap into that, like using some older kids who probably are more emotionally mature
Yeah.
and can handle this, come back and mentor some of the younger kids, that's not available for the regular schools. Were you
Yeah,
able to tap into that?
yeah, we were able. Yes, we were able to, and we still we do it on daily basis, because the older children naturally are able to mentor and model and address some of those emotional struggles that the younger children have.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what happens is that when those struggles show up, the guide will step in, and then they will facilitate.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of it is that the facilitation happens in such a natural way that the children feel unobstructed and free, and they are actually leading the discussion, and then the facilitator slash guide truly is able to guide them if they get stopped or stuck and resolve and work through those emotional problems. But from their experience, they have the experience of, I am in charge and I am doing it. I'm solving my problems. I'm solving my friends' problems. I'm leading, and that's another magical magic of the Montessori.
Yeah. No, that's a very powerful tool, especially. Well, I guess we're slowly, hopefully moving into in-person classes, and
Yeah.
hopefully we don't have to go back online, and things are going to be under control. But it's a tremendous amount of learning, I guess, through this
Yeah.
whole experience of having to adapt, and I also think that technology is here to stay, and teachers are going to probably use it even more, probably enhance their in-person experience through technology, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You also have a startup. I guess it's a startup in the
Yes.
area of transformation and coaching at the leadership level and personal transformation. So is that something you do in addition to the work in Montessori, or
Yes.
how are you? So let's hear a little bit about
So
that.
I wear many hats and do many different jobs. I'm not a lot of time people ask me, how do I have time to do this, to do all of it. Honestly, I don't know how. I just know that I do. I make time. So I live very closely. I have a very close relationship with my Google Calendar. And everything being scheduled. Zone of genius. So I've through my many different pathways and roles and journeys, what I discovered for myself is that the areas that I flourish and that make me happy and that allow me for the experience of being in the flow are the areas that come to me with such a freedom and ease that I don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, for yourself, there are areas of your life that you just take for granted and other people are struggling with. So for example, for me, strategy. I can, and I've trained myself to think strategically. I call it 5-level deep. So I can see or foresee, if you think about chess, 3 to 5, sometimes 7 moves ahead. And it was such a big revelation for me that not everyone can do it. I never thought about it because it came to me so naturally that when I had a conversation with someone and they were like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, you mean you don't? And they were like, no, I don't. It seems like such a struggle. That's where it came to me that that this is the area of my personal zone of genius. Another one is coaching. Coaching comes to me so naturally, and asking powerful questions, standing for greatness of others, really challenging and stretching others. It's just the way I live and I breathe, and it flows naturally. It comes easily to me. But then it was like big aha moment that it doesn't work like that for everyone. So that's how Zone of Genius was born, out of my desire for everyone to truly experience the areas that they excel, that they flourish, that they are passionate, that allows them to get up in the morning and be like, yay, I cannot wait for the rest of the day because I get to do X, Y, or Z, right? And I can tell you that, from personal experience, 10 years ago, I hated those people that were like, oh, I can't wait to get out of my bed. I'm like, what do you mean? What is wrong with you? Like, it's really a struggle for me to get out of my bed.
Yeah.
So by finding, for myself, by finding my zone of genius, my passion, I can now be one of those people who are like, oh, I cannot wait to wake up. I
Yeah.
wake up every morning at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm looking forward to my day. I'm looking forwards to creating and sharing and coaching and, doing a million other things that I do. But I was only able to get there because I did find my zone of genius. I found my passion. I found my big why. And now I want to be able to give it to everyone else so they do have that experience and they are able to be one of those people that are like, I can't wait.
So how did you discover it? I mean, was it an accidental? Did you just stumble upon it? Was there a process? How did you discover your
Yeah.
passion?
So for me,
Or
it was
or did you already know it and you didn't act on it? What was the case?
so for me it was a process.
Hmm.
I knew that there was something more. I
Hmm.
just didn't know what it was. So I kept trying. I tried this, it wasn't this. I tried that, it wasn't that. I tried that, and no, not me. And then finally, at some point, I found the absolutely perfect combination of coaching, educating,
Hmm.
leading, inspiring, and motivating. And that's when for me, that was like literally the biggest breakthrough. It was like, yes, I finally found my life calling. I found my life purpose. I have my why. Now I just want to share this with everyone and I want everyone to have it. And I want everyone to be as passionate about their thing as I am.
So tell us a little bit more about, for people who are listening to this, I think, like, how did you know that this was your passion? For example, you could get elated with something, when you see something, it's exciting, it's elating. Um, but at the same time, it dies down for most people after a month. Hey, oh, well, that was not it. It was something. So how did you know that this was it? Education, for example, or
Yeah.
coaching. How did you know this was it? And
It's
how can
it's
you
such a
talk to us?
great yeah, it's such a great question. Because to your point, it is very often it does happen like that. Like you
Mm,
get excited about something for a month, for 3 months, and
mm,
then you're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
this is boring. I don't want to do it. So to me, the difference is that education, um, it's something that is in my DNA. I've loved learning from the moment I was born, I swear. I have a picture of myself at 6 years old teaching my teddy bears.
Okay.
Um, and I never connected the dots
Mm,
or never had the opportunity or, the coach or the mentor that would connect the dots for me that education, that's your passion, that's your
mhm,
why, that's why you are here on this earth for. Until um because of my amazing son, I was able to step into the educational settings.
mhm,
So I always doubled in it. I always took I've taken, I think at this point, like a million different courses.
mhm,
I've read bazillion of books.
mhm,
However, I was never fully in that environment.
mhm,
And this is where stepping into that environment like truly allowed me to tap and flourish and connect with my passion for education.
mhm,
Leadership. For me, it's so interesting because, again, even 5 years ago, if you would have met me and you would ask me, "Are you a leader?" I'd be like, "No, that's not me. I just, I'm just here and I just do my best, and I'm really good at following."
Mhm.
And then, as I started working with different executives and with different leaders, I started seeing that they are just like me.
Mhm.
I'm like, they are people. They are
Mhm.
struggling with exactly the same things. They have hard time getting out of bed. They don't want to exercise. Um, I'm like, oh, so it was like this, there was this big aha moment for me. I'm like, oh, I guess I am a leader. Oh, everyone is a leader. And so now, for the past 3-4 years, I've actually like completely shifted my mindset where I interact and I talk to everyone from the perspective and from the level of you are a leader. So even when I talk to a 4-year-old, I still talk to them as they are a leader.
So, in your world, what does it mean to be a leader?
Um, it means to inspire,
Mm.
to motivate, and to be an example. And again, to me, it's so beautiful when I look at the children in our school. Naturally, they are inspiring. Naturally, they motivate each other.
Mm.
And naturally, without any training, without books, without YouTube, they are leading by example.
Mhm.
And it's such a innate um, skill set or um, way of living and being that I think we very often either forget or we don't notice in our children.
So, I have another view of being a leader, which is that a leader is a rebel,
Okay.
someone someone who doesn't buy into the status quo
Uh-huh.
and
Great.
fundamentally doesn't want to fit in and wants to create something
Mm,
and then also include others.
yeah.
But fundamentally, I don't you think so? Don't you think that you can't be a leader if you just buy into the status quo?
But again, if you think about children, right?
Hmm.
Are they rebellious? Are they testing uh, the terrain? Are they testing you? How much can I push your buttons and how many things will I get away with, right?
Mhm.
So there is, again, natural rebellion and
Mhm.
natural testing of the
Yeah.
environment, of the boundaries, of, let's see how many things I can get away and no one will ever notice, right? And as I'm doing it, I'm going to pull all my friends and see if they can join me, right? So there is
Yeah.
there is that aspect that fits your description of leadership perfectly in our in our classrooms and in our
Yeah.
children.
It's the most mischievous kids who'd end up being the greatest leaders, don't you think? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
And,
again, it's a great definition of
mhm.
leadership.
And you also speak about you also mentioned something which I found very fascinating in your website on the Zone of Genius is radical self-care.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yep. Yeah, radical. And why radical?
Yeah.
So when you think about self-care, right? So everyone tells us you should be taking care of yourself. And, there's a lot of shoulds, like, you should exercise and you should do yoga and you should meditation and should, right? And so we all know that. Very few of us ever do it. We start, we stop, we try this, different things. But it doesn't, there's or at least I've met very few people who consistently through their entire lifetime are able to maintain the things that we should be doing. Mm-hmm. So if you think about a self-care from a different perspective, from the perspective of it starts with me and making sure that my tank is full and making sure that I take care of myself and my needs, then I can do the same thing for others. And then I can perform at the higher level. And then I can follow the shoulds that everyone is telling me. Until you get to that point, it really doesn't matter. In my opinion, it really doesn't matter, what you do or how many books you read or how many YouTube videos you watch. Nothing is going to change for you until you are able to completely change your mindset and your way of being, where you assure that you are truly taking care of yourself. And it can look very different for me and for you. Like for me, taking care of myself, it means I have to have sleep. If I don't have sleep, I'm very grumpy. I have to have water, because if I don't have water, I get headaches. But I know that those are my core needs that I get to fulfill, and then I can build on that. Starts with awareness. So I know what my 5 things are, and I know that if I don't do them, I'm not going to have a good day. Mm-hmm. And then again, I can build on it. The other aspect of it is that building a team and supporting team around you to truly take care of yourself makes all the difference in the world.
All right. Hey, I think we covered quite a lot of ground. We spent time covering your journey, both in the beginning as well as your journey in the Montessori as a director of operations, and also your startup in the area of coaching. And I completely wish you growth and success in that space. So I have a fun Q&A round in the end, which is what I want to go into next.
Right.
And it's related to your work journey and yourself. And are you ready for that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into that then. Okay. So these are fun questions. Nothing serious about it, but they are related to you. So here we go. The first one I have is a place that you like to travel once the pandemic is over.
Travel, love, my favorite passion. The first place I'm going to go is to Poland.
Okay.
Yes.
And which part of Poland?
Krakow.
Okay. All right. Just go back home. That's the first thing you want to do.
Yes.
Sounds good. A spirit of your choice. What's your spirit of choice? Are you a teetotaler, by the way?
Spirit as in alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one. Because
if you don't, it's fine. We'll move on. I have an alternative question. What's your favorite junk food?
Oh, junk food. Ice cream. Cherry Garcia. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
A favorite song that uplifts your mood?
Ooh. So it's really funny because every time before I go on the air, I listen to song called Dance With Me, and it's by Deborah Morgan, and that's my warm up song, and it makes me always dance. So very often, and that just makes me giggle, because very often, especially when I use Zoom, because there's a slight delay, you can still see me dancing in my chair. People wonder, like, why is she dancing? I'm like, because I'm listening to this song.
I'm going to listen to that song.
It's
That's
great.
nice. Never heard of the song, but I'm going to check it out. Okay. The best advice you've ever gotten regarding entrepreneurship?
Best advice. I would say it was when one of my mentors said that if you see or you treat your business in a way you would treat a child, meaning you make priority, and really make it a priority, then you will be successful. Because at that time I was whining and complaining about not having time to do what I really wanted to do and run my business. And she said, well, what if you treat it as a child? Would you ever allow your child to go hungry? And I said, no, I would never do that. So do that with your business.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. All right. The last question I have for you, which is a favorite question I ask all my guests, is if a movie were made about you, A, what genre would you put it in? And B, who would you like to play your character? Which actor?
Ooh. So Juliette Binoche, because I love her. She's a French actress. And genre, I'm debating between a comedy and drama.
Maybe a good dose of both, maybe.
Maybe both, yes.
Comical drama. All right.
Yeah.
That's terrific. You did well. Thank you for sharing yourself there. All right. We kind of coming to the last wrap up here. I want to give you the last word. Any message you want to, anything else you want to add before we call it a show?
I want to take a couple of minutes and thank you for for your passion and for connecting with your big why of spreading and making available the message of transformation. And I really acknowledge you for taking the time away from your life, from your family, for reaching to different people and bringing them together so we can share our life stories, we can share our transformation, we can make this world a better place through you allowing us to share our messages and our stories to be a world that is truly connected. Especially now with the pandemic, the need for connection, the need for being part of community, tribe, a village, planet makes such a huge difference. So thank you for doing it, and thank you for your commitment to making this a better world and making all of us better because of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Magdalena. Appreciate those kind words. And with that, I want to, let you go back and enjoy the rest of the Sunday here, and we'll stay in touch and have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.